Hello everybody, this is meteorologist Andrew Pinero from inside the car again, but I'm on the road right now, but we do have some weather to talk about. So today, cloudy, some flurries here and there, and that's pretty much it. But tomorrow, that's gonna be the issue. Tomorrow's weather is going to be a little bit tricky as well. So we're seeing some models varying quite a bit, some of those forecast models. All right, I'm about to do a third gear pull here. Almost kind of like a dyno run. It's a little bit loud just because this road is very, very loud. It's going to be quite interesting just because it looks like it's going to be starting out as all snow for areas, I'd say, north of New York City. Now, the timing of when the transition from snow to rain or sleet is going to be a little bit different between all the forecast models. I'm thinking afternoon, maybe like 1 o'clock. That's when we would start seeing the transition going from, say, all snow to maybe that little bit of mix. Then it looks like it's going to be all rain by like middle of the afternoon. And that rain may refreeze at the tail end of this system, which is going to be going into late Wednesday night into very early Thursday morning. And I'm talking pre-dawn hours Thursday morning. The pre-dawn hours Thursday morning, it's going to be ending maybe like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. But that's pretty much it for Thursday. Thursday, nothing really too out of the ordinary. Accumulations? I'll show you a map in a moment. I'm on my way back to my studio now, so once we get back inside the studio, I'll show you a bit more of those maps and snowfall totals. I'm thinking, say, north of New York City. That's where it's going to see more snow. So once you get into the Hudson Valley, Rockland and Westchester County, maybe around 2 to 4 inches. Then going a bit more north into Orange County. That's where we could see maybe more like 4 or 5, maybe even up to 6 inches. Now, some of the forecast models are putting out spots of even more, 5 to 8 inches. I don't think it's going to be going up that much just because, but when you get more north of the city area, the precipitation really just dies off. So even though it's going to be colder and can support the snow for longer, it may not actually be strong enough once we get really more north into the Hudson Valley to have anything more significant. But these forecast models, they've been showing about these 5 to 8 inches for a couple days now. So I'm really questioning whether that's true or not, but it's going kind of against what my experience has showed me. So I'm on my way home now, and once I get back to the studio, we'll take a look at some of these forecast maps. So cut right to the studio. Quick intermission before I got into the studio and we start looking at the maps. The sky's cleared. It's nice and sunny right now, nice and calm as well. It's going to be much different in 24 hours from now. Quick thermal look at outside. The ambient air temperature is right at about 32 degrees, the freezing point. Well, you can see the ground is much colder. That means any snow that starts to happen will stick, since the ground is colder than the ambient air temperature. Well, welcome back to the studio. So I hope you enjoyed a little thermal image. That was something quite interesting to see the sun pop out for a little bit. But it's good to see the ground's actual temperature. Because if you get a lot of snow coming in, but the ground's not frozen, or it's above freezing, that's going to change the snowfall totals. So at least now we know the ground is below freezing. So it's able to hold some snow and maybe some significant snow in some regions, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. So right now I do want to switch over to my computer screen here. And in this view, we're seeing lots and lots of winter weather stuff. In the pink color here, winter storm warning. Now this is saying 4 to 6 inches. I've seen it range from 4 to 8, 3 to 5, and the timing 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So this is going to be something that could cause some issues a bit more midday when the snow is really starting to take hold. Everywhere else has the winter weather advisory, but still the winter weather advisory of up to 2 inches, which still is a little bit, it's not something to kind of ignore, and ice accumulations of up to 1/10 of an inch. So this is something interesting to take a look at. And let's take a look at that now on, first just want to show you kind of the setup of where it's going. So on the radar here, it doesn't look very impressive at the moment, but these two systems are going to kind of phase together, and this is what's going to give us kind of a wallop for tomorrow. On the satellite, you can see it has some definition in these thicker clouds, and that's going to kind of stay like that, but you can really see these two separate systems right now. They will be phasing overnight before they make their way into the northeast. Now onto the models in the good old Tropical Tidbits website here. So this is the GFS we're going to start out with. This is saying the snow is starting somewhere between 7 a.m. and about 1 p.m. I'm saying it's really close here at the 7 a.m. picture. So I'm going to think somewhere between 8 and 9. That's when we're really starting to see a lot of the start. And the GFS, which tends to be one of the warmer forecast models, is still showing snow and some mixing in the Hudson Valley here until at 1 p.m. time. And then after 1 p.m., this is when it pretty much changes over to all rain throughout everywhere there, except once you get up to more central New York State and areas in western Pennsylvania, all Connecticut. Then Massachusetts still have a little bit of mixing there on the western part of the state, but right around Boston, it's going to be all rain, kind of the same line we're kind of following between the Hudson Valley and Boston. Then this starts to make its way out. It's still rain, and then it turns to maybe a little bit more snow there before the tail end of this makes its way out. And then this has everything pretty much done between 1 a.m. Thursday and 7 a.m. Thursday. Maybe a little lingering flurries around Boston, but nothing really too much for Thursday. This is really just a Wednesday storm. Then here, the Canadian, let's back up here. So this has it also starting probably right around that 7 to 9 a.m. time frame. And this has that freezing line a bit more south. So it stays all snow through the early afternoon for the Hudson Valley and northern New Jersey. It's just changing over from snow to rain around the Boston area. And Long Island can be interesting just because it looks like it's going to be mostly rain, but there could very well be some ice accretion out there. And then this stays all rain through the afternoon and the evening. And it doesn't really have a changeover back to any kind of significant snow. Just maybe a little tail end there in the Hudson Valley, but by the time the end of the precipitation makes its way out east, maybe little flurries mixing in there for around Boston early Thursday morning, but nothing really too much. Next is the Icon model, and I've been actually following this for a few days now. This is also one of the warmer models that have been kind of trending warm versus some of the other ones that have been trending a tad bit colder over the past couple of days. So let's watch this here. So it still has the precipitation starting between, say, 7 and 9 a.m. Then it actually is a bit more intense with the snow in spots, especially in eastern Pennsylvania. Then it has the changeover happening at about 1 p.m., which is about the same thing. And then pretty intense rain throughout the rest of the afternoon. So this run seems to be a bit more in line with the past couple of models that are a tad bit colder. Then, let's see, stays pretty much rain all the way through until it leaves early Thursday morning. So that's the icon. Next, we'll do the NAM. Now, the NAM, so this is 8 a.m. So this is showing pretty much by 8 a.m. it's going to be starting out. And notice the freezing line does look to be a bit more south. So we're watching the snow go all the way through. Then here comes the ice, and the ice band on this is a bit wider. And this is also right about that noon going into 1 p.m. So that's also about when that changeover looks like it's going to be happening, but it's going to be slower changing, not pretty much straight from snow to rain, but snow to quite a bit of ice, then to the rain. And let's see when it's pretty much all rain everywhere by late in the evening for Wednesday. Then all rain stays. Let's see, and stays all rain even until it exits out of the Boston area there and going even into Maine. See how far north that freezing line just went up through this system? So when it starts, the freezing line's pretty much in central Jersey. And then when it ends, the freezing line is pretty much central Maine. So it's interesting to see that freezing line move quite fast through this. And then the last one, this is the RPM, or what you would typically call. This one is snow totals. I guess we'll jump right there then. So the snow totals, this is where it's going to be very patchy, especially in those heavier areas of snow in Pennsylvania and central New York. That pink that the RPM here is showing is between 10 and 12 inches. I don't think it's going to be that much, but it's interesting to see the trend of these little patchy higher elevations and higher snow totals with those higher elevations. So besides that, this shade right here by SWF, which I think is Newburgh, that's right about here, which is 4 to 6 inches. And then this light blue is 2 to 4. And then south of that is nothing to 2. But I'm still going to say, even though this is showing about that coating to 2 or nothing to 2, that's where the ice is going to be. So that's something that you have to watch out for. And then south shore of Long Island going into the southern half of New Jersey, mainly rain. Maybe a little bit of ice mixing in with the rain, but nothing in terms of really snow accumulations. Now we'll backtrack through the models. We'll switch these to snowfalls. So by the time all is said and done here, kind of showing the same thing. This is about 5 inches going into Orange County, it looks like. And this line right here, which is probably about 2 to 4 inch right about there. It's a little bit lower, so this one's showing a bit more higher totals. And this is also showing getting up to 10 inches in those little patchy areas. And that tad bit of green right there, that's pushing 12 inches. And even another spot right here. So interesting. Let's go now into the icon model. Snow accumulation. Now this is where I was saying the icon tends to be a bit warmer. So it's keeping the snow total a little bit down, but it's also showing the same trends where we're seeing central Pennsylvania, some heavier snowfall totals, and also central New York, some heavier snowfall totals. Not as high, but still 8 inches from what that's showing. And this is even maybe going a little bit closer to 10, maybe 11 inches in the center of this spot right there. So, trend is the same for where the snowfall totals are going to be, the heaviest snowfall totals, but overall totals are a little bit less on this one. Next one, the Canadian. Switch this to snowfall. And this, kind of in agreement with the NAM a bit more. 2 to 4 going into the lower Hudson Valley, then northern Hudson or mid Hudson Valley there, 4 to 8. And then also kind of showing the trend of central New York and those little splotchy areas in Pennsylvania with the higher snowfall totals. But it also shows this pretty wide band going through Vermont all the way up to Maine. So it's interesting to see that versus the little more splotchy areas of higher snowfall totals that the other forecast models were taking a look at. And then the last one is the GFS here. We're going to switch this to total snowfall, or we do 24-hour snowfall. Let's see there. Actually, let me switch that to actually total snowfall. And let's see here. Similar to the Canadian, showing this kind of strip across from New York to Maine of higher snowfall totals, but it's not pretty steady, it's more splotchy. From central Pennsylvania, central New York, all the way up to about central Maine, even going into parts of Canada there. So overall, doesn't look like it's going to be a good day tomorrow. So let me now switch back to my main camera. Overall, it's going to be a terrible, terrible day tomorrow. Whether it's all rain or all snow or that mix, doesn't matter because we're pretty sure about the precipitation timing-wise. But it's that freezing line. That's the big challenge. And going into the past couple of days, going from especially yesterday into today, I'm a bit more confident. So let me move over to the side here. And I'm going to put up over my shoulder my snow map. So overall, the very southern part of... Actually, I have it here so I can look along with you. All right. So the green line, that's the slush and rain area. So I'm not really just saying mainly rain. I'm saying maybe a little slush and rain mixed in. And yeah, that's pretty much all of Suffolk County going into southern Nassau County and Long Island. Then even going into the southern part of New Jersey, that's going to be where rain, maybe a little bit of that slush mixing in. Now the pink area, the 1 to 2 inches of sleet and snow. That's where it could be a bit more dangerous. Not higher snowfall totals, but that ice mixing in. That 1/10 of an inch of ice can really cause issues with power lines. Then going a bit more north of that, this is the very lower Hudson Valley, Rockland, Westchester, and then right on the border of Orange, and then halfway cutting really through Putnam, 2 to 4 inches. So a bit more cold, so it's going to be higher snowfall totals and less sleet. And then more north of that, Orange going into northern Putnam, Sullivan, Ulster, and Dutchess, 4 to 8. And then north of that, going a bit more into central New York State, that's where it's going to be splotchy areas of 8 to 10. I'm not going to show that on this model just because it's in this graphic, just because it's very, very inconsistent with these splotchy areas of 8 to maybe 12 inches of some snow. All right, so it's going to be a mess tomorrow. You definitely want to stay safe. If you cannot make it into work, definitely don't try. It's going to be bad, and your life is not worth losing your life over missing a day of work. So if you can't make it in, just call out. They'll be understanding. Hopefully, most bosses will be understanding with all of this winter weathery mess coming in for tomorrow. And also, keep the supplies, just in case you do lose power, especially in those areas that will be seeing that ice accumulation. Losing power could mean losing heat, losing refrigerators, cold food could spoil, so you definitely want to have some sort of a plan or any kind of like non-perishable foods just to keep in the house in case throughout this. Also, if you do lose power, do not use candles. Even though they could be safe and they do have some light, you never know. You could just fall over, especially when the wax starts to make it drip a bit more. It could fall over and lean a bit more, maybe into a curtain. Don't use candles. If anything, just battery power. Have extra batteries on hand. Also, if you have electronics, I have a little battery pack with USB ports that you could plug in. That's definitely what you want. So Overall, it's going to be a mess tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to my regular live weather podcast because of everything going on. If there's no power, obviously I can't do it, but I'll let you guys know. So, have a great evening. Stay safe. Please stay safe tomorrow. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Hit that subscribe button below and the bell icon next to it to get notified whenever I upload a video or if I do happen to go live tomorrow. Have a great evening, and again, please stay safe throughout this tomorrow.